Hey finders, and welcome back to Fortune Finds, and welcome to Trend Week. At least that is what I am calling it here on my channel. I'm going to be uploading 2 videos to my channel this week, as I always do, but they're going to be makeup 2021 forecasted trend related. So if you missed my makeup 2021 trends video, I will link it up here as well as down below. Be sure to check that out. You do not need to watch that before watching this video, but I highly recommend watching it just because I walked you guys through the makeup trends of this upcoming year, which are kind of just like staple makeup looks that I think are amazing and classic. So 2 of my favorite makeup trends that I mentioned in that video are the ones I'm going to be uploading this week. One being this very sexy, undone, smoky eye look. It kind of looks like we went to bed late last night, slept in our makeup, and woke up just like with that seductive eye look, but yet, you know, we look hydrated, we look well rested. We want to look like we were out partying and having fun, but you know, we also want to look like we get our 64 ounces of water a day. We exercise and take care of ourselves, so it's kind of combining those 2 sexy worlds into one. So that is today's makeup look. And then the next tutorial I'm going to be uploading this week is going to be the classic Parisian face. So I'm going to show you guys how to do a very natural makeup look and then kind of give yourself that undone red lip that is both appropriate for daytime and nighttime. So I'm very excited to hop into today's video, especially because it really doesn't take a lot of time. It took me less than 10 minutes to do both eyes. And it kind of looks like we put a lot of effort in. It kind of looks like we did a lot of work, but we really didn't. If you've subscribed and you've rung the bell, then let's go ahead and hop into today's bedroom eye makeup tutorial. Smashbox full exposure palette. Taupey, it's kind of like a beigey gray tone, and then I'm going to be taking this kind of grayish brown, and I'm also probably going to be dipping into dark brown. So these 2 shades essentially, but then I'm probably going to take a little bit of this one as well. Gel liner, it doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to use a black gel liner. If you want it to be a little softer, use a dark brown gel liner, but for the drama, we're going to go with black today. Tarteist, I have no idea how you say this. Liquid and pencil, it's a combo, but I'm going to be using the pencil side. So just your typical coal black eyeliner. And then for brushes, let's just get everything out in the open here. This way you guys can prepare in case you guys want to sit down and do this with me. I'm going to be using a really big, flat, fluffy brush, a crease brush that has a little bit of a tapered end. This is the Morphe M575. And then I'm also going to be using, it's a blending brush, but it's a little bit more tapered and smaller. It's kind of like a precision blending brush. This is the Luxie 243 precision blending brush. Oh, there we go. But you can use a pencil brush if you prefer. Either one of these 2 is totally fine. I might mix between the 2, but just something that has a tapered edge that's a little bit smaller. This way we can really smoke out that gel liner when we get there. I'm just going to put the shadow over top of my skin. It's going to make it look a little bit more undone. Taupey, grayish, beigey shade. I'm going to pounce this all over my lid, pressing and pushing this into my eye. And I'm just going to stop it right at the crease. So I'm not going to bring it into the crease just yet. And you don't want to put too much of this on. You kind of just want this to look almost like we wore this to bed last night and then woke up looking sexily refreshed, but also still wearing our makeup from the night before. We want those like undone bedroom eyes. So once you have that all on the lid, and it kind of just looks like a natural shadow on my eyes. It doesn't really look like eyeshadow. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of that same shade on that same brush, kind of focus it on the outer third, and I'm gonna put a little bit in my crease. So I kind of want my eye to do that swoop. You guys know I like my eyes to be lifted, so I always like to bring my eyeshadow to a point. So I'm gonna take a little bit more and I'm gonna press that right into the crease. And it's important to do this with your eyes open, because if you shut your eyes, you're not gonna be able to see where you're placing that shadow. And if you have hooded eyes like me, your shadow can kind of get lost in that fold. So I'm kind of gonna put it right in the crease. And again, I'm doing that bouncing, patting motion. Take a little bit right here and kind of just push it out towards the tail of my brow. Now this doesn't need to be precise, especially because it's supposed to be an undone look, but also we are doing our eyes first. So if you bring the shadow down a little bit too low for your liking, we're gonna go ahead and clean that up right after. You're gonna need one more brush. I just forgot, you're gonna need a clean blending brush. I feel like that's kind of a given. We always need a clean blending brush. So now I'm gonna take a big fluffy brush. I'm just gonna take this one here. It's from Vasanti, and I'm kind of just gonna fluff out the edges of that shadow. You can go all over your lid, especially if you feel like you put too much shadow on your eye. You can just gently go over the whole lid. That tapered blending brush, I'm gonna grab that darker, I guess it's kind of like a darker taupey brown on the tip of my brush. And I'm gonna start it in the outer third of my eye, and I'm gonna kind of wiggle it into my crease right there. And I'm just going in really lightly, building upon this. And then once I run out of the shadow in that outer third of the eye, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the inner third of my eye. And again, I'm pulling the shadow up to make my eyes look a little bit more lifted. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bit more, and I'm just gonna put that on the outer third of my eye, and I'm kind of gonna push it like towards the inner corner. So I'm just like stamping this, just to give a little bit more dimension here. Fluffy brush, blend out the edges. We definitely want the edges to be really blended. We don't want to be able to see where this shadow ends. That's also going to give the illusion of it just being lived in, undone, and like effortless. Tarteist by Tarte, I don't know. And we don't need to draw a straight line. I'm kind of just like pressing this into my lash line. But I'm kind of going to make it a little bit thinner as I get into the inner corner of my eye. And I'm not going to wing it out, which is totally weird and unlike me. I'm just going to keep it to the shape of my eye. I'm going to put it right where my lashes are. Connect the outer corner. I'm kind of just running that through my lashes. Take that kohl liner and put it in my lash line. Just like that. I'm going to start with the tight blending brush, but again, if you have a pencil brush, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be something with a tapered end that's a smaller brush. And I'm just gonna dab between the two shades that we already used, tapping off the excess, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and blend out the upper and lower lash line. Run this along that black liner just to really smoke it out. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and grab that pencil brush just because I think I need something a little bit stiffer to blend out the upper lash line. So I'm going to grab this pencil brush. This is a Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH39, and I'm again going to go between these two, but I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that darker shade. Really blending out that liner because again, we don't want it to look like we just put this liner on. We want to look like we slept in this. Same thing on the lower lash line. I kind of want to deepen out this outer corner just a little bit. So I'm going to pop back in with that blending brush. I'm going to pick up this pretty warm brown. I'm only going to pick up a little bit. I'm going to look into my mirror with my eyes open, and I'm just going to put that right in this outer socket. Just right here. I'm not going to lift it. I'm kind of just wiggling this and going back and forth and keeping it right to that outer third of my eye. So I'm not really doing crazy motions. I'm not really doing much. I'm kind of just following the curvature of my orbital bone right there. And then with whatever is left on my brush, I'm just going to bring it into the inner corner. Clean blending brush one more time. I'm just going to focus that on the outer portion of that shadow. Really blending it out and softening those edges. Really just gonna fill in my brows where I absolutely need them. So as you can see on the bottom portion of my brows, they're pretty thick. I don't really need a lot, but you can obviously see like I'm missing some hair up here. I'm only gonna fill it in where I need it to be filled in. As you can see, the hairs in the front of my brow grow up like that. So I'm following the growth of my hair. Using the spoolie to help just distribute that product a little bit more evenly. Now for the rest of my face, I'm going to start off with my concealer. This is a trick that I like to do when I'm trying to wear minimal makeup. Shape Tape concealer that will never die. And I'm just going to put this underneath my eyes like this, around my nose, and a little bit on my chin, a little bit between my brows. Damp Beauty blender. And I'm just going to pounce this into my skin. And I'm not going to bring it up too close to the eye. I don't want to cancel out any of that shadow that we put underneath. We are going to go ahead and reinforce that shadow with more shadow, but I don't want to perfect the under eye. I kind of just want to kind of color correct it. I'm not trying to make it look like our under eyes are perfect. My favorite foundation concoction that I have discovered, which thank God because I really don't like this by itself, the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation, shade Vienna, and I'm going to mix that with my favorite foundation, Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation by NARS, also in the shade Vienna. I'm going to take one pump of each, and this is probably going to be a little bit too much foundation, but it's fine, we don't need to use it all. I'm going to pick it up with that sponge, pounce this all over my face, really thinning out that product. And then I'm gonna go over my forehead last, just because I find that when you have too much foundation on your forehead, it's kind of a dead giveaway that you're wearing a lot of makeup. So by going over your forehead last, that's gonna disperse the least amount of foundation there. Obviously we're wearing makeup, but we kind of just want the rest of our face to look like it's just really nice, like perfect, without looking like we really did anything. Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, light mist. And while my skin is still damp, I'm gonna go back in with that sponge and I'm just gonna push that moisture into my skin. But this is also gonna help to remove any excess product that we have on our face. So it's gonna make this foundation a little bit more sheer. If we could take a little bit more off, I feel like that will really play up the undone look. There's like very minimal amount of foundation left on this sponge. And I'm gonna pat out the front of my brows, just like that. Just to take away a little bit of that product, to make them look a little bit more natural in the beginning of the brow. See, it just took a little bit of product off. So for underneath my eyes, I'm gonna use my Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I normally use a powder foundation, but again, I kind of want the imperfections around my eyes to show through. So I don't wanna cancel out those dark circles too much. Me just saying that is very weird. I'm gonna pick up that powder, tap off the excess, and I'm only putting powder where I need it because I do want my overall skin to look dewy because our skin is naturally a little dewy. You know, we're not naturally matte and flat. Same brush for the rest of my face. I'm gonna use the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder just because this gives a little bit of luminosity to the skin, so it's gonna set the rest of my face, but it's gonna make my skin look like skin. Only putting this where I need it, so I like to put this around my mouth and on my nose just because those are places where I tend to get oily and places where my makeup tends to leave me. Forehead, because I have some fine lines right there. Remove any of the makeup from my lips. I'm just gonna use a little bit of blush. I'm not even gonna use any bronzer, which again, crazy. NARS Dolce Vita blush. I like this because it's kind of a deeper blush. I feel like it's really gonna pull out taupey browns in our eyeshadow. I feel like it's gonna make that pop a little bit more, but it's also gonna give us a little bit more life to the face. I'm gonna apply that with a fluffy brush, Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH06. As you can see, this brush is tapered, so I'm gonna start back here. Use that flat side to really hug my cheekbone, and then I'm gonna bring it down, just like that. And I just feel like that's really sexy. So again, just hugging that cheekbone right there. So that kind of just sculpts the face without having to use bronzer or contour, you know, just hugging that cheekbone with blush. So if you're ever in a rush, you're ever in a pinch, and you don't have time to really layer up the complexion products, just use a blush. Oh my God, so like rock and roll. I love this. Clear brow gel. Brush them up so you can kind of see the hairs a little bit more. Long blending brush. This is the Luxie 243. And I'm going to pick up more of that darker grayish brown that we used. And I'm going to go ahead and just smoke out the lower lash line one more time, just to make this a little bit more dramatic, just to bring this down a little bit more. Smoke out the top one more time as well. Just like look at how sexy that is. Now that we brought it down a little bit more, it kind of looks again like we slept in it. Morphe M575. I'm not going to pick up anything, and I'm just going to go ahead and blend that all out. Just like keeping it to the crease and underneath the eye, just like that. Younique Moodstruck Epic Mascara. I'm also going to add a little bit to my lower lash line as well. So I know you saw me with a lipstick on, but I did just decide to take it off because I feel like it wasn't undone enough looking for me. But if you are interested in what was just on my lips, I use the MAC Boldly Bare Lip Liner as well as the Marc Jacobs Cream and Sugar Nude Lipstick. I feel like a lip stain would look really well if you were doing this makeup look, but for me, I'm going to use a lip oil. Reason being is because my lips are so dry and I just have this really bad habit of like picking my lips all the time. It's just like a nervous tic that I have, and I just look how destroyed my lips are. It's so bad. I'm so mean to them. But I've been really enjoying this lip oil, super hydrating, and it kind of just has a your lips but better kind of vibe. Vasanti in the shade Supermom, and I'm not gonna line my lips, guys, because I lined my lips and I then realized for an undone lip, I should not be lining my lips. All right, guys, and this is our finished Undone sexy makeup look. I have to say, I feel like I will be wearing this eye makeup look a lot this year. It's just as sexy, just as dramatic, just as like eye-catching as my typical smoky eye. But my smoky eye that I normally do entails a lot of blending, a lot more colors, a very clean, even cat eye. And I feel like this is just like an updated modern spin on our typical smoky eye. So I really, really enjoyed filming this. I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching this. And if you did, then do be sure to let me know that you enjoy this content by giving this video a big thumbs up down below. Like I said in the beginning of this video, there's really nowhere to go, really not much to do. So for me to sit down and do my makeup for 45 minutes to an hour just doesn't really sound that appealing to me. And if it doesn't sound that appealing to you, then do be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. And again, I can go ahead and accommodate our new taste in makeup. You know, makeup does not need to be complicated. And I really hope that this makeup tutorial really highlighted that. You can still meet and greet the day with a really sexy makeup look that doesn't take too much time. So again, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. Make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell. I had a wonderful time as always. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, Finders. Mwah.